So yeah, the question that arose was, would the integration of AI within this field enhance the overall experience and change the way the public goes about making interior decoration decisions? With this breakthrough in technology, I wondered how it would impact interior designers and consumer experience of that. Looking into an innovative shift to interior decoration, I broke this project into multiple stages, beginning with research methods for literary reflection and then moving on to the project development phase. So primary and secondary research was conducted and compiled into a literary review in the final project to grasp an in-depth understanding of the topics. Secondary research that focused on ethics and understanding AI, interior decoration, what people are wanting from social media interactions, and current digital platforms that users gravitated towards for interior decoration inspiration was gathered. And then primary research was conducted to gain further information about user experiences and preferences in interior decoration. Multiple surveys were created to gain insight about interior decoration and user preferences in this project development phase when designing this application. Semi-structured interviews were also held with an AI specialist from Microsoft, an interior designer, and a technology executive who invest in startups to understand the impact AI has already had, user needs, and where the market was predicted to go. So to approach my project, I used the double diamond methodology, a structured framework that helps with problem solving through research, ideation, and iterative design. First, I conducted extensive research to understand how people currently approach interior decorating and where they struggled. Through this, I uncovered key problems and potential solutions. The methodology emphasizes divergent and convergent thinking, meaning I explored a broad range of ideas before narrowing them down to the best solution. One of the biggest insights was the problem statement, which was that many consumers find it difficult to visualize, budget, and execute their interior decoration ideas effectively. This revealed a clear market gap, so there was no financially accessible AI-driven intuitive platform designed to simplify the project or process for everyday users. And this realization led me to develop a mobile app solution integrating AI for personalized interior decor recommendations. So throughout the conduction of the double diamond methodology, I was able to establish my target market, competitors, and key trends that were found throughout my research. When defining my target market, I focused on everyday consumers who are enthusiastic about personalizing their spaces, but may lack the skills or budget to help or to hire professionals. So these users rely heavily on social media for inspiration, but often face difficulties in translating their ideas into a reality. Looking at competitors, I analyzed platforms like Pinterest and Houzz. Pinterest excels in inspiration, but doesn't offer practical tools for implementation. Houzz caters more to professionals rather than do-it-yourself decorators. Meanwhile, furniture retailers like IKEA and Wayfair focus on shopping, but lack the AI-powered personalizations. So given these insights, I decided a mobile app would be the best solution, a dedicated app that allows for a seamless experience incorporating AI-driven recommendations, 3D rendering tools, and e-commerce integration, all in one platform tailored for the consumer's unique needs. So an additional methodology was used as well to the double diamond. I know it wasn't expected in the project, but I just thought based off of how I was going to do it, it just made sense for me. Um, so in the development of my mobile application, I followed the agile methodology, which is a flexible approach that allowed for continuous improvements based on user feedback. So first I identified key gaps in the market, such as the lack of AI-driven interior decorating tools. From there, I ideated a solution, which was the mobile app that combines AI personalization with 3D visualization tools. And the agile process allowed me to break the creation and delivery stages into smaller, manageable phases, ensuring that every aspect was tested and refined along the way. What made the agile methodology particularly fitting for this project is that it's a continuous cycle which is just like AI, which is constantly learning and evolving. So this means that the app can continuously be improved with updates based on consumer preferences and technological advancements. So that's why I chose to do both. So visual and technological inspiration were based on competing applications that, based off my survey results, users reverted to the most. So apps like House, Pinterest, Instagram, they were all looked at. Things like 3D rendering, AI results and recommendations, algorithms for personalized content were noted as key trends and advances in the market that were making an impact to users. Both visual and technological aspects were incorporated into the design phase, taking the best features from these apps, enhancing them, and combining them into this application, creating a different experience, making this app different than its competitors. So developing the visual identity of my application, which I named InDesign, was a crucial step in ensuring that it resonated with the target audience. To do this, I conducted sampling with a group of individuals, gathering feedback to refine the overall look and feel. The logo design and typography were carefully selected to reflect the app's key themes, innovation, interior decoration, and a magazine style aesthetic. So the name InDesign combines these elements, drawing inspiration from interior and the word magazine, emphasizing the curated AI-driven design experience. When selecting the color scheme, I applied color theory to ensure it aligned with consumer values, evoking a sense of trust and creativity. The results was a well-balanced visual identity that effectively communicated the app's purpose while appealing to the target audience's aesthetic preferences. This step taught me about UX design and how to collect data about user experience and preferences, making sure your audience feels heard in every step, and I continue to use the skill in my current career. So for the financial model of InDesign, I looked at successful platforms like House, which leverage partnerships and commissions. The goal was to create a sustainable revenue stream while keeping the app accessible for users. A key revenue driver is partnerships with brands like IKEA and Wayfair. Within this app, users can visualize partner furniture in AI-generated rooms. So if a user purchases an item through InDesign's recommendation, the app earns a 15% commission on the sale. Additionally, the app follows a freemium model. So users get 3 free AI-generated room designs, but then to generate more, they can purchase 5 additional AI room designs for $5.99. The prices I did were in USD. For professionals, there's a subscription option for interior designers at $39.99 a month, allowing them to use the tool for client work. So this ensures multiple revenue streams while providing value to both everyday consumers and industry professionals. So this step taught me how to conduct market research and price accordingly for a product and service. So a value proposition was created based off of what the market and consumers need to move forward with this design process, based off the learnings from the surveys and interviews with the AI developer and the interior designer. And then a business model canvas was created, which you see on the right, with the insight from the interview with the technology executive to understand the scope of what was being designed, being sure to outline the identified value proposition within the design, creating a clear vision of what is expected from this application, consumer needs, outsourcing, and revenue stream. So each phase here of the application's user face interface for the user journey is recorded here, and I'll take you guys along. So beginning with the welcoming slide that will allow users to develop their style and record what kind of room they wish to design. The second phase allows for a more specific preference to be selected for the application's algorithm, so exploring different elements of design and decor. From their selected preference, an algorithm will be generated that is unique to each user, showcasing different furniture and elements that could be incorporated into a room. From this feed, users can scroll, search up specific items, and then save it to a room folder. So for example, like this vase to their bedroom folder. Users can go into the room folders, which is compiled of their saved pieces, and then hit Create My AI Room. Here, using a combination of AI and 3D rendering, users can enter their room dimensions and allow for their cameras to be used. Then they will be prompted to take images and a video of their desired space. AI and 3D rendering will then use the visual data gathered on the user to design their room using the elements of design and furniture from their key partners that are similar to their desired preferences. The furniture selected will appropriately fit their spaces based on the dimensions that they entered. Users can interact with the furniture to further personalize the space, for example, changing the color of a pillow. The colors offered will be the same as the website from the key partners. Once the user is satisfied, they can click on the item and hit purchase. They then will be redirected to the website that offers the exact item they would like to purchase for the room. For example, this specific green pillow from IKEA. Once they check out, InSign will earn 15% of the commission from that pillow due to the redirection and recommendation on their website. So moving on to my career as an artist and how my project helped and my master's helped me. So in regards to AI specifically, my MA allowed me to explore the intersection of AI and marketing, particularly using AI-powered consumer insights to develop personalized strategies for my art website and social media accounts. I also focused on ethical considerations and human communication, ensuring that AI applications respect user privacy and enhance rather than replace the genuine connections that I have formed with my clients and followers. Enhancing my art business, I leveraged AI tools to understand audience preferences, refining my approach to social media engagement and content creation. I gained valuable digital marketing techniques, learning how to use SEO, targeted advertising, and data analytics to reach the right customers. In regards to research and design skills that I learned throughout this journey, I learned and implemented research methods, design thinking, innovation, communication, and visual identity development. These skills have helped me refine my art business model, create a stronger brand identity, and position my business for sustainable growth. This project and my MA have directly influenced my career by giving me practical skills in AI-driven marketing, digital branding, and audience engagement, all of which are now significant to growing my art business and future creative endeavors. So how I use design thinking, my MA provided a deep understanding of how consumers think and behave, allowing me to create an art business that caters to their emotional connections with my artwork. I also applied user experience insights to improve the online experience, ensuring a seamless process for commissions. In regards to visual identity and storytelling and branding, a strong visual identity is crucial in the art world. My studies have helped me refine my brand's colors, typography, and overall presentation to communicate joy and creativity. I also learned how to use storytelling and branding, making my audience feel more connected to my work through personal narratives and behind-the-scenes content. In regards to strategic iteration and market testing, instead of sticking to one approach, I've embraced strategic iteration, testing different art styles, social media content, and product offerings to see what resonates most with my audience. I use market testing to experiment with pricing, product formats, using prints versus originals, and promotional strategies, ensuring sustainable business growth. It's helped me identify market gaps as well. So my MA gave me the skills to gather and analyze productive information, helping me identify where competitors fall short and how I can fill those gaps. I use structured design research methods to refine my branding, marketing approach, and overall business strategy. So by applying design thinking principles, I have created a well-researched and strategically developed art business that not only produces beautiful work, but also connects with the right audience in a meaningful way. So here's my business model that I redid after I finished my MA. It was important to define a clear value proposition. I focused on what makes my brand unique and valuable to my target audience. Design research helped me understand customer needs, pain points, and desires so I can clearly communicate how my product or service addresses those. So my value propositions were unique, custom hand-painted artwork tailored to clients' visions, high quality prints that make my artwork originals more accessible, engaging how-to videos and behind-the-scenes content to build a community on both Instagram and TikTok, leading more people to my website, a bright, cheerful, and happy brand identity that fosters joy in my target audience, and research-driven marketing to effectively reach my right audience. As you can see, this business model canvas is the same format as the one that I used in my project, and my MA allowed me to gain a true understanding of what each category meant and how to create an effective layout to enhance my business. So another aspect of my career has been applying my knowledge of AI and design thinking beyond the digital space, especially in hospitality. My work as a club coordinator for a private members club at Pier 66 has allowed me to take methodologies I learned in my master's in design and integrate them into event planning, customer experience, and operational strategies. AI plays a significant role in designing events, from using predictive analytics to anticipate guest preferences to leveraging AI-driven design tools for creating immersive and interactive event spaces. My background in design thinking and user experience research helps me create engaging, visually compelling, and well-branded experiences that cater to high-end clientele. Beyond AI, my role requires me to be interdisciplinary, bringing together elements of art, technology, design, and business strategy. So my ability to think in a creative, out-of-the-box way, a skill I really worked on throughout my experience here, has helped me curate unique member experiences, optimize operations, and develop innovative engagement strategies. This transition showcases how AI and design thinking aren't confined to digital products and how they can be used to redefine customer experiences in the real world, especially in luxury hospitality and event management. So some of the key takeaways, AI is transforming digital marketing, design, and hospitality businesses. Design thinking helps brands stay user-centric and innovative, and my MA in design provided the strategic mindset to refine my career. And yeah, that's everything. Thank you.
Thank you, Alexandra, for this extremely insightful presentation, not only into your project, but also into your work in the art sector and as we understand recently in the hospitality sector. Before I throw open the floor for questions to the students joining in, I just have a curiosity. When you talk about design thinking, do you mean the sequence of processes in the design thinking activity, or do you mean thinking as designer?
The process, I think it's been a clear way on how to segment everything instead of being overwhelmed by like, oh my gosh, how am I going to do this? So for me, it gave me like a strategic outline.
Okay,
So that's
so
it.
it's the organization of different steps that you
Yeah.
need to take. But of course, I mean, in your daily work, or even when you were constructing your project, um, not all the activities within the design thinking process were required, right? So
Yeah.
you adapted it to the needs of your own project, and you use it as a guideline for the project which you're currently undertaking, as well as any other creative endeavor in your case.
Yeah, like I mentioned, I used two methodologies that wasn't required in the project, but I just felt for my own design process for creating that project. I felt that both the double diamond and the agile methodology complemented it. So that's why I chose to use both instead. So yeah, like instances like that. And I think we were only required to do one interview, and then I did a couple just because I wanted to gain insight from all areas. So just little things like that. And kind of, I think this course really encourages students to think outside the box and take that extra step, which isn't taught in a lot of like if MBAs and stuff like that. And so it gives that whole creative side to how to think in like a business perspective. So that's what I appreciated about it.
Great. And when you talk about a strategic mindset, um, what do you consider as the key components of such a mindset? I mean, what are the kinds of things that you do? How do you, I mean, view anything differently with that mindset, especially when you're problem solving, but in general daily life as well. How would you deconstruct that strategic mindset?
I think it's just about using different tools and utilizing them to the best of your ability. Throughout life, we're given all these tools we're learned. And so it's just like, how can I appropriately use something that I've learned in the past and integrate it into this situation? So, um, again, I think it's the creativity and problem solving with that and being like, okay, because I feel like, especially with school, I'm like, it was a bit of a transition because I have been an academic my whole life and then transitioning into the workforce. It's like, how can I use these skills? And nothing's going to be exact, like, okay, I'm going to take this and, apply it to this exact situation that happens in life. It doesn't work like that. And so it was a transition to adapt, to be like, okay, how can I use these skills that I learned and adapt it to this situation? And so I think that's how the strategic mindset, in my own experience, has come about.
Okay. Of course, we need to talk about AI and the
Yeah.
and the importance that it plays. Of course, it's played in your project and how it plays in your current work as a designer. And I think that's one of the key points which you mentioned in your presentation was that this the window within which the project operates was between July of 2023 and July of 2024. And I think that's a very important point because the paradigm, the technology is moving extremely fast. So, and also there are a lot of new models coming in. There are new institutions coming in, organizations coming in into the scene. And at this moment, and we are in the cusp of something great, and it's evolving at a breakneck speed. So to contextualize your research, I think that was a very important point to say that this was the scope within which this research operates, and saying that I mean, in July or in this period between 2023 and 2024, and we're just in 2025, but it's already been so drastically different in the last few months. Um, the entire phenomenon was quite new, right? So it was something that you had to grasp yourself before implementing it into your project.
Mhm.
Not only as an important aspect of the solution making process, but also in constructing your project, also in understanding various aspects that you should, I mean, consider as you are developing the project structure, the integration, how it works, so things like that. Can you talk to us about a bit about that process of integrating AI across levels? Not only in your project development, but also using it as a research tool.
Like in my everyday life or like
Yeah, I mean, in constructing a project,
in my project.
utilizing AI not only as a very important aspect of your project development or solution development or an aspect of solution in this case, but also how it helped you, understand consumer insights as you were mentioning.
Sorry, I just want to make sure I understand what you're saying. It's like, how did I use it? with the construction of my project, like as a tool,
Yeah, how did
or
you
I'm
interpret it?
yeah.
I mean, there are lots of levels in which you interpreted it within the scope of your project, right? So,
Mhm.
but since it was such a new tool at that moment, how difficult was it for you to understand its advantages, its benefits, and implement them strategically into your project?
Yeah, I think that really, like within the research stage of it, the first thing I really wanted to understand, because there's two types of AI, which is um, machine learning and
Generative.
Jennifer, thank you. It's been a while. But yeah, and so I wanted to learn, okay, where did this come from? And then I also really dove into the ethics of AI because that was when I was constructing this project, and it's still a concern now, but that was the biggest concern was the ethical stage of AI. And companies were nervous integrating it because they were scared that consumers were, and I do talk about this a lot in my thesis or in my project, how users perceived it as being a cold thing. Like it removed the whole personal communication of service. And so that was something I really dove into because I was nervous with the construction of this. I'm like, okay, because interior decoration, it's such a personal thing. And so I'm like, how can I integrate this scary thing that not a lot of people are talking about, or like we're talking about, but we don't know how to use it properly and, create like that warmth. And so that's why, like, for me, like the brand identity was really important and the visual identity of it. So I think using it as a tool, but not having it take over as the main function. And I think that was really important in highlighting in my project. It's like this AI and 3D rendering assists this, but the main like in my value proposition, the main focus was um, giving the users a chance to decorate themselves. They are the key component of the project. It's you, it's the user. It's not about AI. And so that's really important. I think even in everyday life now, it's still like that. You're using it as a tool. It's not the main thing taking over. Otherwise, it takes out that human to human connection that brands need in order to thrive and connect with their audiences.
I think that's a great point in the sense that um, it's not uh, the tool itself, but its use that should be highlighted in this regard. It's not taking over the decision-making process. It's not taking over the customization process and I mean the people's preferences and behaviors. It just makes it or it just gives a scope for um, um, visualizing a product in the best way possible or visualizing a solution in the best way possible. So it's in many ways it's a supporting entity
Mhm.
and not the very platform itself. And I think that's a very important point in terms of your project. So yes, I think we can take in some questions from the students. Sarah, is there something you would like to ask to comment upon? Okay. Um, That's all right. Um, if there's anybody who has any questions regarding the project which Alexandra has developed or regarding any other relevant field, please go ahead.
To answer your question, no, it hasn't gone to the market. No, I haven't taken those steps to launch the app. I think it's easier said than done for sure. But it
That
was,
was unfortunately my closing remark. What's next regarding this?
I
Because you've presented your business case, and that's quite an advancement on the project idea. So, that's something, yes, and Sarah is right.
Mhm.
We would be really happy to see the utilization of this app. I don't think it's overtly complicated. I think the complicated part would be to do the commission, I mean, the boring aspects, I mean, contacting
Yeah,
companies to
all
have
the admin work.
their, yeah,
It was
that would
really
be.
fun constructing it.
Yeah, but I think it's quite a workable solution. I think it could be something interesting, and it's a gap in the market. So congratulations on that, and I hope it comes
Mhm.
to fruition in the future. So yeah, so Tathagat, Kauthar, Nabil. Um, Isa, anybody has any further questions?
You guys can
Hi,
text it too. Hi.
question. Yeah, so thank you for the presentation. And I think the idea is fascinating. What's your plan to have this idea to see the light? And I know if you want to go to the side of contacting the furniture companies, it will take a lot of hard work, and I think the partnership side is going to be um, a lot of work. But my thing is if you can, what's the timeline you're having to implement the idea if it's gonna see the light? And my advice to speed up things before it become like an add-on inside IKEA app or somebody
Yeah.
else. Yeah. So that's it. Thank you.
Yeah. Yeah, like I said, I haven't implemented it. I think in order to do that, like I said in the beginning, I'd have to update all the research in AI because even when I was doing this project and compiling the research about AI, I had to constantly adjust because the research I did at the beginning was no longer relevant. And that was a bit of a pain, I'm not gonna lie, because I had to constantly go back and so I'd have to do that. And then yeah, I think it would probably take like at least a year for it to just to get everything up and going to because I did the user interface and stuff like that, but like I'm not a tech person. I don't know how to code. I can easily create the interface. So like there's a lot of key components that go into it because I did look into it. I don't know, maybe I will now after
Yeah.
revisiting all of this through this presentation. But yeah, I think it'll take time to do that. And yeah, like with the key partnerships, just to create those relationships and stuff like that. And it doesn't necessarily have to be like IKEA and Wayfair. There's a lot of up and coming. Maybe even it could be a way to like to pivot it, look into small businesses and gain exposure to smaller furniture companies instead of these big mass produced. There's a lot of different routes you can take with it. And it has been interesting to revisit this and like new ideas come. So there are a couple different possibilities, and I'll let you guys know if it ever does hit the market.
No, I think it's a very
Yeah.
interesting thing because the scope of this project was design, right? So it was within the scope of a design research intervention. However, given the palpable, let's say, value that people can see in in this application, it's a natural progression to becoming a design entrepreneurship in the future. However, it's very important for us to note that, I mean, design does not is not the all end all. It can create the conditions for a good project, right? But it
Mhm.
for a project to come to fruition, to be realized in the market, it takes multi-stakeholder effort. Okay, so there will be technologists involved, there will be CFOs involved, um, to bring something like this into the market. It's not going to be a small scale intervention. So that's where, I mean, there would be people experts in the implementation of AI. There would be experts regarding the legal parameters, frameworks. Also, entrepreneurs or perhaps investors who would come into the picture for, I mean, bringing the product to the market. But the role of design here is mainly, I would say, and I would argue that it more than the aesthetic features. I think it's the strategic outline for a project like this, and it's something which is not systemic. It does not. For example, there are projects. Sometimes designers think, I mean, we have this superhuman or Superman syndrome, that we can do everything,
Mhm.
but it's not always like that. I mean, we always need to consider that we are one cog, an important cog in a wider machinery. So our idea is to, or our function here is to generate such visionary ideas, is to assess, what are the conditions that would be required, what are the functions, what are the um, other insights, disciplines that would be required to be integrated to bring the product to fruition. But I think that's where, I mean, the applicability of design across territories, I think, is quite interesting. Anybody else has a question? Nabil, Tathagat, Kauthar, Antonio? All right, we have a question from Tathagat regarding competition, regarding the competitor. Yes, please.
So first of all, really nice project. Thanks for sharing. Have you considered other existing platforms like Home as your competitor?
Yeah. Oh, sorry.
Yeah, please go ahead. Please go ahead.
Yeah, I did look at existing competitors. Mind you, like I said, it was from the year 2023 to 2024, so it was within that gap. So I did look at all the different apps, and then through primary research, and I was able to, narrow down my target audience, and I was like, okay, and where do you go? Stuff like what are the apps you currently use for this? And I was specific with it, like, do you do design or decoration applications? What are they? And so looked into those as well. Um, but yeah, so like I said, and then I modeled key features off of those. And it's like, okay, what are the strong points? And did that. So obviously I know there have been a lot more added since then. And so that's why I was like, okay, like this is from July 2024 prior. But yeah, I did analyze a lot of the different competing apps and tried to take, okay, what's the best things here and let's put them into this project. So yeah.
I think a related question is from Sarah, who's wondering if how the functionality of the application is, if people can use text or voice to search for something specific that they're looking for within the scope of
That's
the
a good.
application.
Yeah, I had a search bar saying, yeah, like you could text it in. I hadn't thought about voice, so that's a good idea. If I were to move further with this, and like allow it to be more accessible for people. So that's a good idea as well, or Siri, stuff like that. Yeah.
Yeah, but also the fact that, some of these advancements are also quite new. It's very recent that, we're speaking with ChatGPT at the moment, and with other AI interfaces. So that's one of the things which you were mentioning, that the time frame of this project was within that year, and whatever is presented was within the scope of what was possible at that point of time. But now with greater advancements and more accessibility features, for example, voice, I think, it just makes sense to evolve the product accordingly, right? So in many ways, the central idea remains the same, but its implementation evolves over time as and when newer opportunities, newer possibilities come into the picture. That's I think also a very important aspect. Any further questions, queries, comments?
Yeah.
Okay. I think in this sense, I think everybody is quite comprehensively sold on your on your work, on the methodologies that you have implemented in your work. I think it is in many ways visionary work which you have presented. One of the things that we need to highlight here from the perspective of a school is that you selected a context which is closer to home. So you had a very defined target audience. You had a very well-defined market scope. For example, the geographic area that you mentioned was very well defined. I think that's one of the things that the students here can, also consider within the scope of their projects. It's not always about making large-scale systemic changes. Through your research work, through your design work, through your projects, but to target certain lifestyle improvements that are closer to you, that you would like to see in your daily digital interaction or otherwise, and also to define a certain market segment within a geographic scope for that solution to be implemented. This is very important because if we choose the entire world, for example, a generation in the entire world, automatically we throw open um, our project to assumptions, which I don't think should happen. I think in that sense, Alexandra was very clear about, what is the scope of her work in terms of the target audience, in terms of the market that the app would cater to, and which was reflected in her selection of the competition, in her selection of the attributes, in selection of, the behavioral insights regarding the target audience. So overall, I think it was quite an interesting project, and it has the basis for successful implementation in the future. So we wish Alexandra all the best, and yeah, and thank you
Yeah,
everybody else for coming in. Yeah. Please go ahead.
I was just gonna say, like, if anybody, needs help, I know like you need primary research interviews. I'm happy to step in and help. Because I remember that was kind of hard to reach out and find people to talk to. So if anyone has anything like related or wants any help, I'm happy to. Because yeah, I don't know. Like I said, I love the whole academic world and spent my whole life in school. So happy to be a contact if you want the link to. I'll leave your link. Yeah. Or I can leave my email if anyone wants that.
Or you can leave your website address in the chat. I think that could also be a good way to contact in the future.
Okay, let me grab that for you guys. This is my art portfolio website. But yeah, don't hesitate to reach out. I'm happy to help. And if you need any primary research, because I remember that was one of the more difficult things is to find people who were willing to participate in this kind of project. So yeah,
All right, great.
thanks for
Thank you so
having me.
much, Alexandra.
Yeah,
And thank you everyone who's joined in. We hope that this was an insightful presentation for you as well. And we hope that you integrate the learnings in your own works. And as Alexandra very graciously said, that if you need her advice on any matter, you can contact her in the various contact information presented in the chat. So thank you again, and wish everyone a very nice day.
thanks so much.